Hi, I'm Pete, and welcome to Just a Few Acres Farm. Today I have a story and a moral to the story. We got to go in here so I can explain what happened. As you know, I've been tinkering on this old tractor trying to repair the governor, the carburetor, the hydraulics, the distributor. And this morning I thought I had it all beat. My parts had come in and I spent the morning putting the distributor back together after doing a lot of cleaning work on it and checking it all over, and I put it all together and I started the tractor up and it went kablooey. It ran, but not for long, and it acted like it was under load, and I knew exactly what it was. It was this thing right here. This thing here goes around this thing here. And this is a drive gear for the distributor, and this is the bushing that it rides in. Bushing's kind of like a bearing. Oil is squirted into it and it rides smoothly in it. Well, it turns out when I put the bushing in, the bushing was too tight. It was too tight on the shaft. So when I started the tractor up, the bushing spun in its bore. In other words, it glued itself to this and spun with it. Heated up this case. When I felt this case, I said, oh, I got to take it all back apart. This story that I'm telling about mechanical work isn't the point of this video. I'm just setting the stage here for the mood that I got to be into. This is the distributor here without the cap on it. I had taken this all apart and cleaned it all up, put it back together, and during the process I realized that this distributor was made for a different model of tractor for this. It was actually made for an MD, which was a tractor that I worked on last winter. It's meant to rotate the opposite direction as the 504. The MD's an oddball that way. Somebody had pulled it from one sometime in the past, put it on this tractor. I thought, oh, it'll work fine. Well, after I put it back together and checked the advance weights in the distributor, I figured out this distributor won't work at all. But I stuck it in the tractor anyway to start it up, and then everything else happened. And to add to all this, I woke up with a nasty cold this morning. Didn't sleep much at all last night. Thought I was going to finish a mechanical video to put up tomorrow or today to you guys, and everything was wrecked. I had to order a new bushing, and it's going to be a couple days before it gets here. I went in the house for lunch and I was discouraged and I was mad. The last thing I want to show on any mechanical video is a situation that I didn't solve, because people just jump all over that. I'm not saying you do, but there are people out there that do. In fact, I did a video a little while ago where I spent an extra 30 seconds putting little brass screws in a carburetor, and oh, the comments I got. Anyway, it was a way, and there's nothing wrong with those comments, by the way. It was a way for me to focus my bad day off onto somebody else, which is always a mistake. When you have a bad day, you need to take ownership of it yourself. So my first reaction was, I'm not doing any more of these mechanical videos. They put too much pressure on me. I worry too much about messing things up. I can't do these videos anymore. I told Hillary that when I was eating lunch. And then, as I ate my lunch, I started to calm down, and I realized that this isn't the end of the world. I got online, I ordered the replacement bushing that I needed. I thought about the distributor and I said to myself, you know, there's a cub up in the barn that I don't know if I'll ever get to. It's got a distributor on it. It's the same distributor that's the correct distributor for the 504, and it's in good shape. I have that distributor to use. I can't finish the job today, but I'm going to finish the job right. It's just going to take me a few extra days. And alternating with these feelings of blame and rage and sadness and everything, it was like an Oscar-nominated performance I was having, was the feeling that I really did screw up, because when I put that gear in, it was tighter than I would have liked, and I should have known better. I should have honed out that bore before I fit the gear in and made sure everything was running correctly. But I was in a hurry, and that's what happens. Before we get to the point of my story, I need to do something for the little piggies. Hey Red, how are you? Where are your little piggies? Alright guys. You little monkeys. I can run out there like roaches. Look at these little guys. Hey, you. Oh. Hey, Mom. What? You guys. Spending time with the little piggies can improve everybody's day, I think. That is just not cool. Now then, to the point of my story. My story is nothing unique. We all get mad and frustrated and discouraged by things that happen in life, similar to what happened to me with my little tractor project. The point, and probably this is an old saw that everybody's heard, is not whether you encounter adversity, it's how you deal with adversity that makes you who you are. It's not how fast you get up, it's whether you get up at all after facing adversity. And I think that it needs to be considered in two ways. The first is there are certain things you'll encounter in life that you just need to bull your way through. You just need to keep plowing and plowing till you exit them. The tractor's a good example of that, right? I mean, you get down about something that happens for a little while. The key isn't picking yourself back up and just keep going till the job is done, and then you'll be rewarded with the final product. There are other things in life that people seem to plow away at and try and bull their way through that doesn't work for. And the important thing to remember in those kinds of situations is to know when to give up. And that's a tough thing. When you're in the middle of it, you don't know. It's not like you can say, oh, this is something I should pass on beyond and stop. So I was in my old job as an architect for many years before I realized that my bullying through this, pushing through it year after year, wasn't really doing me any good, and it was time to move on. There are all kinds of things in life that are that way when you need to know whether to press on and when to pass. Another good example is even in relationships. There's certain kinds of toxic relationships where at a point you just need to say, this isn't good for me, and I'm moving on, and let the fallout be what it may, because for your own health, that's important. The question is not whether you'll encounter adversity. You will. The question is how you deal with it. And a big no-no in dealing with it, and I see this happen all the time, is to blame somebody else for your bad situation. That ain't going to do you any good. I'll tell you, if I look around social media and even YouTube, I see all kinds of people saying, oh, he's got so-and-so and I don't, and they get mad about it. And I'm like, pick up your own situation. Don't blame somebody else for your lot in life. After all, what, you expecting somebody else to come and cure your problems for you? I'll tell you, in this world, the only people that are going to cure your own problems is yourself. So get on your feet, pull up your pants, and be a big boy about it. The other thing that kind of concerns me about adversity in today's world, and this is something that we've focused on with our children quite a bit, and something that continues to worry me, is how kids are responding to adversity these days in a world of more and more instant gratification, where what happens on a screen in a video game is very easy to achieve versus doing that same thing with your own hands. You can build whole worlds in things like Minecraft and the other sort of world games very easily, but if you want to go out and build yourself a tree house or fix something, it's going to take some practice. It's going to take some time to master the use of the tools. And we've always tried to task our kids with taking the time to learn those simple experiences and sort of manual activities, because no matter how the world changes, those are going to be useful. And they're character builders that when I was a kid, I was just made to do, right? It's a generational thing. If you're over a certain age, when your parents said, go do this, you didn't argue with them. You didn't argue about hard work. You went out and did it. And things are always changing, but we still need to instill the same character traits to be resilient human beings into our children now under today's conditions as we did 30, 40, 50 years ago. We may not be instilling those character traits as violently as happened when some of us were kids, when that sort of thing was more the norm, but we need to do it anyway. And it takes a little bit more thought up here to do that. To finish up this video, I want to give you some simple tools to use when you run into adversity. And I'll go back to my 504 example. So I went in the house and I had it and I was ticked. There's two things I did that got me through that. Number one, I broke the task down, this roadblock that I'd hit. I said, well, what am I going to do about that bushing that spun? Well, the only thing I can do is order a new bushing and make sure it fits correctly the next time before I put the tractor back together. The distributor, I got one up in the cub. It's not that bad. I wasted a little time messing around with the distributor that I have, but maybe it'll come in handy for something else later on. So, problem solved there. The second thing, and this is particularly good for dealing with obstructions or obstacles or challenges that are people, is to step back and make a plan of attack. And I'm not talking about a literal plan of attack here with people, but you need to step back and gather yourself. Just as like when I went in for lunch and I sort of calmed down and got more rational about it. This applies when you're dealing with people, and again, I see this all the time on social media, where somebody will write, the angry keyboard warrior, and what do you want to do? As soon as you see it, you want to get all angry and rant back at them, and that doesn't help anybody. And the best thing to do in those cases is always take a step back, learn to see the situation from outside yourself, and take a break, and then come back in. And when I do that, at least for me, in those types of correspondence, when I see something that really upsets me, when I go back, I realize it's really not worth responding to them because they're in their own state of misery and trying to drag me into it. These attitudes toward dealing with adversity apply throughout life. They apply to my dopey little mechanical project, which is also a shades of gray kind of endeavor, just like life is. People like to think of mechanical work as either being perfect or crap. The honest truth is it's someplace in the middle. And small mistakes are fine when you're doing mechanical work. Your job is rarely perfect. I had a mistake today that wasn't fine, and I had to deal with that. Life is the same way. We all make mistakes. We all deal with adversity in different ways. The point is knowing when to bull through it, knowing when to walk away, knowing how to deal with it in your own head, and knowing not to blame others for your own troubles. I hope this video was helpful. I've been through enough different experiences in life. I'm by no means an old man, no matter how old you all think I am. I've seen enough to come up with some ideas for how to deal with different things that arise in life, and your results may vary, but maybe I'll help a few people here and there with these kinds of videos I drop once in a while. Hope you have a great day and see you next time.